For the big handles, like the 210mm and 240mm wah style handles, you have to remove the back surface, but you also have to remove some of the front surface. And this one has already been partially cut, but the rectangle wasn't completely removed. You need to cut it away until you completely remove that rectangle, such that when you sand it, it'll be easy to sand. And then the corners, the corners will also need to be sanded and rounded off again, because they will have been probably cut flat. So you use this adapter here, and the hole is tapered in the adapter. So you see this side is smaller than this side. So you need to slide the bigger opening goes into the handle first, and then it fits all the way up like this. You want it to be a little bit tight, so it just barely spreads out that opening. You should look in the front. You shouldn't see any significant gaps there. And if you look at the back, you shouldn't see any gaps there either. If this is wobbling or anything, then it's on the wrong way. So in this case, we're going to put it in we're going to machine this off this end, so we're going to put this side in the jaws. I just put it in the jaws up until it reaches the front of the adapter, and then tighten up the jaws. And you want to tighten them up such that it's subjective, but just so it's tight enough that it's not moving at all inside the jaws. You don't want any wiggle, because if there's any wiggle, it's going to damage the part. The whole carriage needs to be slid forward to get the cutoff tool close to the end. The first thing you do is you unlock, if it's not already unlocked, the carriage, and then that'll allow you to quickly position it like this. You can also slide this forward, but you have a limited amount of range with this. So usually you want it to be relatively centered as a good starting position. This is called the cross slide. The cross slide should be centered as a good starting position. And then you move your carriage back and forth, and then get it close to your starting point, lock it down using this, and then you can back this off, and we're going to set the initial starting position. Now you see how I have the vacuum tube installed there, such that it's going to vacuum up most of the dust, and I'm going to turn the vacuum on. It's going to be loud, so you won't hear me as well. So I'm going to explain what I'm going to do before I start up the lathe. So once the lathe is started up, I'm going to move the cutting tool closer to the piece until I see it cutting a little bit. Then I'm going to back away, move it in just a hair, like a thousandth of an inch, and then start cutting, making a smooth cutting motion all the way in. Okay? Start up the vacuum, start the lathe, make sure there's clearance. I'm moving in close until I see it cutting. There I see a little bit of cutting. Pull it back, and move it in just a hair. And I see it cutting. I'm moving forward with a slow, not jerky motion. When I reach the center, I move the cross slide away from the piece and shut it down. Then I can move this back. I don't want to cut backwards, because when you change the directions of the X axis, it can cause it to move. And so that looks pretty good. I think that in one pass we sufficed for that. Okay, take it off. Take this out. Use the key, remove it from the chuck. Be careful not to scratch it against the tool. And there we go. So this is what it should look like. A fairly smooth surface. You don't want any air bubbles and stuff in it. I could possibly even go a little bit deeper to remove this scratch here, but I think that's fine. I don't think that's going to affect anything. And then we're going to have to sand the corners a little bit. This one didn't cut off the corners too much. You can see the corners are still there, but we're just going to sand it a little bit. We're going to sand that surface a little bit and then buff it and polish.